These are my picks and predictions for UFC 324. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Honestly, we might not have like a real title fight on this card, but it's still so many good fights on this card. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong, and there's so many more all the way to the prelims. And to be honest, let's talk about the main event already. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Who's gonna win? I'm leaning towards more Justin Gaethje more than anything, and I might be wrong here. But I've made my video on Paddy Pimblett before and the guys that he's fought and his resume. And I just think that Paddy Pimblett's resume, compared to Justin Gaethje, Justin Gaethje has fought, the who's of the lightweight division, man. And Paddy Pimblett hasn't. A win over Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, and Michael Chandler should not even get you close to an interim title shot. But when you are, the industry plan of the UFC, this is what you get. And honestly, this could be a really fun fight. This could be a banger on the feet if Paddy Pimblett, doesn't get the takedowns that he needs to get Justin Gaethje and try and get a submission. But honestly, I'm leaning more towards Justin Gaethje because I feel like if he keeps it on the feet, stuffs Paddy's takedowns, and has a chance at knocking him out. I don't think he's going to knock him out, but I just think Paddy Pimblett's stand-up is garbage. And I think Justin Gaethje, if he cracks him a couple times, even though that Scouser does have a chin, I think he could win. I think Paddy Pimblett, his stand-up is just too trash. Maybe if his grappling is I know his grappling is good, but if it's super elite, he takes down Justin Gaethje, gets the back and gets the rear naked choke, maybe that could happen. My original pick was going to be Paddy Pimblett, but this fight has been just so 50-50, and especially the fact that we had 6 weeks to just think about this fight. I'm leaning more toward Justin Gaethje getting the interim belt, but we'll see. I cannot wait for this fight. Let's move on to the co-main event, which would have been Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes, but Kayla Harrison got injured. They had to scrap the fight, but now we're getting Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong, which I think is a way better co-main event, to be honest, because if that fight, Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison, would have happened, we all would have just been bored. But I'm picking I'm picking Sean O'Malley. I like Song Yadong though. Song Yadong was one of my favorite fighters. But I just think Sean O'Malley, if Song Yadong's not going to wrestle Sean O'Malley and keep it on the feet, I think Sean O'Malley, with the reach that he has, the kicks that he has, I think he's going to do really good against Song Yadong. Song Yadong is pretty short for the division, and, Sean O'Malley's pretty fast on the feet. I think Sean O'Malley needed an opponent where he can just, go out there and outstrike on the feet, and I think he's going to win this fight. Song Yadong, though, let's see if he can imply that, that alpha male wrestling. I just haven't seen that much of Song Yadong's grappling like that. He's mostly just a boxer, and I think Sean O'Malley's gonna get the dub. I think Sean O'Malley has improved enough on the ground to, get up on the feet if Song Yadong tries to take him down. But I got Sean O'Malley winning this fight and maybe getting another title shot against Petr Yan, if anything, if they don't run the Marab fight back. I don't know. Sean O'Malley, another industry plant, but we'll see what they do with Sean O'Malley. I think Sean O'Malley needs at least 2 more wins before he gets a title shot. Let's move on to the featured fight. We have Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. Mani el mio. I'm picking Waldo Cortez Acosta to win, bro. I know Derek Lewis is super dangerous and he looks super fit now, but I just think Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's that dude. I think he's that dude. He's knocked out Ante Delija. He's knocked out Shamil Gaziev. I know those aren't really good names in the heavyweight division, but he's made a name for himself after, the IPO KO win against Ante Delija, and he's been active, dude. He's been really active, and for the heavyweight division, that pretty much matters a lot. And I just got to go with Waldo Cortez Acosta. I'm a little bit biased on this pick because I like Waldo Cortez Acosta. But I don't think he's just going to fall into Derek Lewis's little games of getting, almost getting knocked out. Derek Lewis is knocking out, and then he just gets, I think Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's not a taxi driver. He's not a taxi driver from Brazil, brother. He's decent. He's a decent UFC fighter. He's good on the feet, and I want to see if he gets the win against Derek Lewis. This could be a decision win for Waldo Cortez Acosta. I don't see a knockout, but we'll see what happens on the feet. Let's move on. Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. I'm picking Natalia Silva, dude. I just can't pick Rose. Rose is getting old, Tommy Pickles, man, grow out your hair already. I'm tired of you with the bald ass shit. Like, I think Natalia Silva, her kicks are gonna be what wins her this fight. She's good on the feet. And I think this fight is really good for Natalia Silva, because if she beats Rose Namajunas, I think the UFC would just give her a title shot. I think Natalia Silva is like everybody's favorite female fighter right now. The way she went out there and not dominated Andrade. A lot of people like to say that she dominated Jessica Andrade, but she went out there, she beat Jessica Andrade. But yeah, Natalia Silva is going to win this fight. I just feel like her kicks are going to play a factor in here. Rose is getting older, and Rose sometimes just doesn't look like she wants to engage into any battle. Like, look at the Carlos Esparza fight. Like, we don't even want to talk about that. But I just think Natalia Silva is younger. She's faster, and I think she's going to want this more than Rose Namajunas. But we'll see. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. I'm a huge Gene Silva fan. I'm picking Gene Silva to win this fight against Arnold Allen. Hopefully Gene Silva has, fix his mistakes. Like, when he's in there in the octagon, he's not as angry when it's not going his way, or, he's not playing games with Arnold Allen. Like, hopefully he goes out there and he just gets the job done, and he just goes out there and gets the win. I think Gene Silva, he's really crafty on the feet. You saw it in the Diego Lopez fight before Diego Lopez knocked him out. But Gene Silva was hitting Diego Lopez with some good ass shots, and I think he could hit Arnold Allen with some good ass shots. And not oral farm on Arnold Allen. I don't think he's going to be able to oral farm on Arnold Allen, maybe a little bit, but I can see Gene Silva getting like maybe a finish in the third round or second round. But I'm leaning more towards a decision win with Gene Silva. I think Arnold Allen's just, it's a step down of competition against Diego Lopez, like not that much. But Arnold Allen has not been like that active like that. So we'll see what Arnold Allen does. But I'm picking more Gene Silva to win this fight, and I think Gene Silva is gonna bark his way to a decision win. Let's move on to the prelims, though. Featured prelim, we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm gonna go with Umar Nurmagomedov. If Deiveson Figueiredo can find a knockout, I will be happy. But I gotta pick Umar Nurmagomedov. I think Umar Nurmagomedov, he's faster. He's a lot younger than Deiveson Figueiredo. If this was at bantamweight, maybe a whole different story. I mean, not bantamweight, flyweight, whatever. But I don't think Deiveson Figueiredo is going to win this fight. That's what I'm trying to say. I think Umar is just going to go out there, out-grapple Deiveson Figueiredo, keep his distance on the feet. Kind of more like this Corey Sandhagen fight for Umar Nurmagomedov. But, yeah, I got Umar winning this fight, dude. I just don't see Deiveson Figueiredo getting the win unless it's by knockout. And I think Umar's going to win by decision. But, yeah, let's move on to the next one. This fight, that one could be a fun fight, but we'll see. Atemba Gutierrez versus Andre Puliev. They keep feeding Atemba Gutierrez cans. Andre Puliev is not that much of a can. He's 10-3, but Andre Puliev has fought at least some comp in the UFC. It's not like a newbie, like a trash can for Atemba Gutierrez to just destroy, but I'm still picking the Atemba Gutierrez. Hopefully Andre Puliev can prove us wrong and destroy this industry plant that the UFC is trying to build, saying that this is the next middleweight Ngannou. But I think Atemba Gutierrez is going to get the knockout in like the second round. I don't think he's going to get it in the first. But Atemba Gutierrez is just too strong. And let's see what happens. Maybe if Pulaev decides to grapple with him, but that's not really Pulaev's game like that. I think Atumba Gutierrez is going to knock him out in like the second round, dude, to be honest with you. I think Atumba Gutierrez he's good on the feet, and I think this is just not enough level of competition for him to like fail. I think he's going to get the win. Let's move on. We have Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. I'm picking Modestas Bukauskas. A lot of YouTubers are picking Nikita Krylov, and it's because of his experience. But Nikita Krylov has not looked good in his last couple fights, dude. That knockout against Dominic Reyes did not look good. And I forgot who else did he fight. But I think Modestas Bukauskas is just, he's on the rise right now. And I think this is a level of competition that I think Modestas Bukauskas can actually win. I think he's going to use his kicks. Let's be honest. Modestas Bukauskas, he comes out of that Tom Aspinall team. I think he's going to use his kicks. I think he could knock out Nikita Krylov if he lands that punch or that kick. We'll see. But I'm picking Modestas Bukauskas. It might be a biased pick because I like Modestas Bukauskas a lot. Huge fan of him, especially after he recovered from the oblique kick from Khalil Roundtree. He goes out there, he goes on the regional scene, gets a couple wins, comes back in the UFC, is on a nice little win streak. I'm picking Modestas Bukauskas to win. He's just a lot younger than Nikita Krylov, and I think he can knock him out. I kind of say maybe like third round knockout for Modestas Bukauskas, maybe decision win, but let's move on. Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson, dude. I love Charles Johnson. Energy is one of my favorite flyweights, dude. Flyweight is literally my favorite division. I've made a whole video of the flyweight division, like back in the day. But I'm picking Energy to win, dude. Alex Perez coming off that loss against, it wasn't Ramazan Tamirov, it was Asul Alimbayev. He was kind of winning that fight, and then Asul Alimbayev got his back, got the rear naked choke, and Alex Perez had to tap. Energy, bro. They needed to make that loss against Ramazan Tamirov a no contest after he got caught for roids, and now he's out for a year. And I actually liked Ramazan Tamirov before that because I thought he was a really good prospect. I thought he could have made it up in the division, but yeah, now he's out for like a year, and the UFC's probably gonna think like, yo, this guy's a roid cheat, whatever. Energy. I'm happy he's getting a step up in competition and he's moving up in the rankings. I feel like he should have been done that a long time ago after the Joshua Van win, and then he goes out there and he gets a couple more wins. But the most impressive win to me was the Loner Kavanaugh win, because I was highly touted on Loner Kavanaugh. I was like, yo, Loner's gonna be really good in the flyweight division. Goes out there and like, not sleep Loner Kavanaugh, but knock him out nasty, dude. And Charles Johnson's done that to the really good prospects in the flyweight division. He's done it to Van, like I said. I'm going with Energy getting the win against Alex Perez. I think his length is going to be a huge factor in this fight as well. Energy, let's get the dub, baby. Let's move on. Michael Johnson versus Alex Hernandez. Now, this one's a little tricky of a pick for me. It's either you go with the Unk who's been cooking for a while, or you go for Alexander Hernandez, who's been on a nice little win streak and knocked out Chase Hooper and then Diego Ferreira. Like, this guy's been on a nice little win streak. Man, this is a hard pick for me. I think I'm just going to have to go with Alexander Hernandez, and I don't even know why, to be honest with you. This is like 50-50. This is one of those fights that is kind of like 50-50. Charles Johnson, he's been looking good, but I don't know. I want to lean towards, I want to pick Johnson, but I just think Alexander Hernandez is going to go out there and he's going to surprise us like he's done in his last couple fights. Because let's be honest, Alexander Hernandez, he was coming up in the UFC, he was getting a lot of wins, he was knocking out guys, and then he lost to Donald Cerrone, and then he's been on a freaking downhill, but now he's kind of picked himself back up, and now he's facing another vet. I think he's going to get it done. I'm going to believe in Alexander Hernandez, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I could see Charles Johnson winning this by decision as well. Charles Johnson went out there, and I forgot who he fought, but he demolished Buddy. I think, was it Ignacio Bahama? I forgot who Charles Johnson won against, but he's been on a nice win streak. I think Alexander Hernandez, he's just a younger guy, and he's gonna get it done. But I wouldn't be sad if he, if Charles Johnson won, because I really like Charles Johnson. Everybody, not Charles Johnson, Michael Johnson. Everybody likes Michael Johnson, bro. But I think Alexander Hernandez is gonna win this fight. Let's move on. Josh Hokett versus Denzel Freeman. I'm gonna pick Josh Hokett. That's like the heavyweight Kofi Covington right now. Denzel Freeman, he had his UFC debut. It was a little bit of a stinker. I think Josh Hokett's just gonna out-grapple Denzel Freeman, use his cardio, and probably get a submission win in like the second round, or a decision win. 29-28, some bullshit like that. I don't know. 49-28, like, I don't know. Josh Hokett's just going to out-grapple Denzel Freeman. I don't think this fight's going to be, like, super fun, but we'll see. Hopefully Hokett just has, like, a good moment on the mic. But, yeah. Let's move on. Ricky Torcios versus Cameron Smotherman. This one's a little bit tricky because Cameron Smotherman has been on a losing streak. And I feel like the UFC's been giving him, like, competition that I'm just like, hey, like, let him get like an easy guy. And Ricky Turcios, the tough winner from I don't know what season. He just hasn't been looking like that good. And I don't know who to pick in this one. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's either Ricky Turcios, who can be a little bit crafty on the feet, or Smotherman, who kind of works. He trains with like with Adrian Yanez and that team over there in Texas. I forgot what gym is that. I'm going to lean towards Cameron Smotherman getting the win. Hopefully he gets the win. I pray he does, because if not, they're going to cut him. They're going to cut him straight up. But I'm picking Cameron Smotherman. I think he's just good enough against Ricky Turcios and wins by decision. We move on to the first fight on the prelims. Adam Fugier versus Ty Miller. If you don't know who Ty Miller is, he was on the last year's Tough. He got like not last year's Tough, last year's Contender Series winner. He got like a developmental contract, like that's what Dana White gave him. But he's making his UFC debut against Adam Fugier. I'm gonna pick Ty Miller. I liked what he did against his opponent in the Contender Series. He looked good out there. He's more like a boxer that uses his kicks decently, and I think he's just gonna keep Fugier on the outside and just slam his punches and get a decision win. Ty Miller doesn't have like that knockout power, but if he knocks out Adam Fugier, I'd be surprised. But yeah, these are my picks and predictions for UFC 324. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. Who do you guys think is gonna win? Honestly, the main card is going to be super exciting for the Paramount year. Hopefully, when they're promoting the fights, I see the face-offs that they've been doing recently. They look pretty good. Let's see how this card goes. I'm Gneps MMA. Like and subscribe, and I'm out.